checkpoints are horrible. Between Enugu and Port Harcourt, it's a nightmare. And it doesn't exist in any other part of Nigeria. And the worst end is this Enugu end, where at every stop, you have to get down and walk by foot while the driver drives across. It's extremely humiliating, it's useless, they don't even inspect the vehicles. All they're interested in is getting you down to walk across. It's business.
Is that what we call Operation Udoka?
I don't know. Whatever it is, Operation Udoka is in the whole southeast. It's only Enugu's Udoka that is making people walk on foot. It's horrible. Whoever is in charge at 82 Division should hear this. There's no basis for it. And I think that it is not achieving.
We have seen people who came out to support the Fulani headsmen, that they should be allowed, that they are to be citizens of Nigeria. We know they came from different countries. And they came in armed. But the Senate and the House of Rep members are canvassing for them to be, allowed to even invade people's farms and feed their cows. They shouldn't be restricted and all that. But when you go to the Southeast, nobody's bringing their case to the table. So, guys, take a look at this headline. This is a latest headline. And this one says, Army raids IPOB camp by 6. And the next headline here says, this is coming from Sahara Reporters, and it says, ISWAP terror group holds public meetings with Borno residents to recruit new members, stresses plan to have separate Islamic country. So guys, these two headlines call for worry. You can imagine these two different groups seen as terrorist groups. But look at how the military is handling one over the other. So the military is in the southeast now, raiding the camps of IPOB and, striking them out. But in Borno State, you can see the opposite is happening. People are holding public meetings, recruiting people into their bad groups, Nigerians. You can imagine what is happening in this country, honestly. If the military is fair to Nigerians, it is time to go hard on anybody they presume to be terrorists on the same level or the same rate. There shouldn't be that discrimination. Because I don't know why when it comes to the Southeast, it's always different. It's always different. Nobody is in support of any terrorist group. Nobody. Because what happened in Abia State, some people have said possibly these people are not even from Abia State. They may have come from other states. And now we are hearing that the military has raided a camp belonging to the IPOB and they've killed 6 people. How sure are we that these are real IPOB people or even the terrorist group? Because it's not everybody calling for Biafra that is a terrorist. It's not everybody calling for Biafra that is carrying arms. It's not everybody calling for Biafra that is saying that it must be violent. No, there are people who say just give us Biafra and let us just be on our own. That is just what people are saying. There are also people who have taken to the militancy aspect of it, which everybody in Nigeria should condemn. Because there is that right to self-determination, but it shouldn't be done in a criminal manner for any reason. That is just it. But you can see that in the north, Borno to be precise, these people will come out and hold public meetings, recruiting people. You could see them handing forms for people to fill. And the military does not even know that such a thing is happening. They don't even know that these meetings are being held. Nobody is being arrested. Nobody is being prosecuted. But when you go to the southeast, the military people at different checkpoints will ask the bus driver to stop, and all the occupants of the bus or the buses will be asked to come down, and all of them will come down. They will ask them to walk on barefoot, to cross over the checkpoints, and people are lamenting over the maltreatment they are getting from the military. It is not only the checkpoints where they collect money. You can imagine this hardship now in the country. The military people are at various checkpoints collecting money from the people, but the worst of it is when they ask people to get down from their buses and they should walk on foot to cross their military checkpoints. Nigerians, these things should be condemned. It is never seen in the north. Why is it happening in the south? Why is it happening specifically specifically in the southeast. Let's condemn what is wrong. Nigerians, let's condemn what is wrong.
Points are horrible. Between Enugu and Port Harcourt, it's a nightmare. And it doesn't exist in any other part of Nigeria. And the worst end is this Enugu end, where at every stop, you have to get down and walk by foot while the driver drives across. It's extremely humiliating. It's useless. They don't even inspect the vehicles. All they're interested in is getting you down to walk.
Right from the time there was jailbreak in Imo facility at Owerri prisons, my position was very clear, and that's still my position. The insecurity you have seen in the southeast was imported because of where we are going now, so that they would demarcate people like us from the southeast that we cannot be president because there is insecurity in our place. It was imported. And the difference from that time and now is that they have now been able to get some locals who are now doing this dirty job. As at the time we had the jailbreak in Owerri, those people were not Igbos. They were not IPOP. They were not ESN. I said it then, Google, you will see my position. But they have discovered that will be exposing them too much, those who did it. Now they have succeeded in recruiting locals, never do wells, charlatans, who have nothing to do, no skill, no education. They are the ones doing the killings today in the southeast. So, and the intendment has not changed. The intendment is to demarket the southeast so that every Nigerian will see, how can you be president when there is insecurity in your place? As if that is the only place we have had such a thing, which is a new thing in the southeast. What is happening in the southeast is alien to us. It is not part of our culture. It is not part of our tradition. And somebody like us will have condemned it in its entirety. So let anybody take it the way he likes. This is not our doing.
Which they will have to explain to us, please.
Security and the violence that seems to have erupted in the southeast.
Well, what we are seeing in the southeast is synchronized violence. Synchronized by certain people. Definitely not by Igbos.
Okay.
Those people who are doing that are foreigners. If you see a group of Igbo people moving, from their physiognomy, you will know. Now, one of the things that people did in the southeast was to get close to them, speak Igbo to them, and without exception, they responded in broken English. And you saw the other man speaking on Sunday, being displayed by the police as the only surviving person among those who attended to burn the prisons again. The man was given an Igbo name. And when he spoke, he had a northern accent. But back to your question about what is really happening. In the past 2 years or more, the clamor for a president of Nigeria coming from the Southeast has been on. And if you notice, up to the past 3 months, there was no problem in the Southeast, 4 months. What happened? Suddenly, if you read some papers published in Abuja, you see Igbos are killing Northerners. You call those in the South, they say, what are you talking about? It has nothing to do with any Igbo man or any Northerner. What we are witnessing is a programmed action by some people to destabilize the Southeast, indeed the whole of Igbo land, with a message: Igbo land is unstable. If you're unstable, how then can you produce a president? That is the real key in issue. The headsmen have always been there. But if you notice, for the past 3 or 4 months, issue of the headsmen had died down. Except in Ebonyi State, where up to last Sunday, the headsmen were still killing people.
But we cannot deny the fact that these destruction and arson attacks are taking place in the Southeast region on security formations, on electoral body, INEC offices, and of course, killing of the security officials themselves. So the question is, how does this make a call or a point for, or an argument for inclusion? If you say marginalization and inequity has been, the reason for this clamor, and some would say for the clamor of cessation, how do these arson attacks and killings and destruction make a point for inclusion? And who stands to benefit from these attacks? Why have they not gone? Why do they continue to recur, in your opinion?
First correction is this: who is doing the destruction?
Exactly.
Who is attacking police formations? Who is attacking the INEC? If you notice the targets: election conducting body, security body. In the first place, Igbos are not destroyers. Igbos are builders. Since the end of the war, the federal government has not been building police stations in the Igbo land. Every structure you see there, apart from the old prisons in Owerri, which was built in the 1950s, is the result of the contribution of people. I'll give you an example. I come from a Bano local government of Imo State. Recently, the police divisional quarters was destroyed, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago. What most people don't know is that building was built by the community, Uso community, and donated to the police last December. So why will the people who built turn around to destroy? For what purpose? The average Igbo man knows that those who are doing the destroying are not Igbos. The special squad of security men sent by federal government are also not Igbos. Okay. So it's a case of the policemen will come, shoot into the air, stray bullet will land on people. And then the unknown gunmen will move around in brand new Hilux trucks. Shoot into the air, with faces covered. Once in a while, people will get close and do like this, and then they take a closer look at them.
So if you say the Igbos are not destroying, who then is carrying out these attacks?
The unknown gunmen. It is not by accident that they call them unknown gunmen. That's why I said, if you go to Alaba today, there's an Igbo section. If you see there, from the physiognomy, you say these are Igbos. If you turn towards the right, you see Alaba Rago. That's where the Hausa traders are. You also see their physiognomy. If I go to Jankara Market here in Lagos, you don't need to be told these are Yorubas. So if the unknown gunmen cover their faces, once in a while, people go, they speak Igbo to them, sing in Igbo, they won't even respond.
This is quite a strong...
It is a revelation. Yeah. But the biggest problem they have now in Igbo land is that if they see somebody of my age, they will go after me. Police will arrest me and call me a financier. If they see my son, they will grab him and say it's an activist. Send him to the police station, military barracks, or anywhere. You have to run around to get him out. And you know what it means to Nigeria for someone to run around. I don't mean real race. You have to do something. Otherwise, you see him on TV the next day confessing to things he did not do. Because when they torture you, you have no option. And remember, Bishop Obinna, the Archbishop of Owerri Catholic Diocese, last Sunday came out almost weeping that the morgue where they keep dead bodies, that place is overflowing, 35 unidentified bodies. The Nigerian Bar Association came out and said, we have set up a unit to liaise with the police commission. That's how they have been able to rescue some people, including the man who came from Bayelsa, who was going to buy a casket for his father-in-law's burial. The one was grabbed and displayed on TV as a high-ranking chief.
Permit me to just interject, because you're making strong assertions, and we wonder why this hasn't come to light in a more public forum. But let me just ask, what we do know, though, is that there was I'm glad you said you're from Imo State. Yes. There was a sit-at-home order, and it would seem that largely it was obeyed. So that would then beg the question, who is in charge? You know, we want to bring up the issue of IPOB because they've made certain assertions. And then we want to ask the question as well regarding Imo State. It's hard to put this. There have been assertions by people in Imo State that since the current governor came into being, that Imo State hasn't known peace. So suggesting that his coming in as governor has also triggered some of these violent attacks. What's your take on that?
Let me take them one by one. Issue of sit at home. To observe a day for our departed brothers, those who died during the war, has been on since 1970. So it depends on the government of the day to make it a focal point.
No, I'm talking about how it was enforced. There was intimidation behind it.
No, there was no intimidation. Listen, what you saw was what we call a charade. Some people will wear black and red and be moving around. You think that Igbos are not Igbos. That's the point I was making. The unknown gunmen are not Igbos. As for Day of Mourning, it's observed every year. You have seen the one of 30. September 9, some people will also observe their own. They don't make noise about it. They just call their own Yom Kippur. We call our own mourning our dead. 2, IPOB is what I call a phenomenon that has risen because of injustice, because of lack of fair playing ground, because of arrant discrimination. Now, nature abhors vacuum. So whenever there is this kind of lack of inclusiveness, grumbling will come in. All it takes is somebody to harvest that they're grumbling and say, this man is doing something bad. Let's see what I can do. Believe me, the average person will join. On the issue of the governor, I better leave it at that. Is the governor in charge of any security force there? No. If he says something negative, they'll go against him. You know where he lives in Owerri? It's called the fortress. On one side is Army Chief's house, Police Chief, DSS, Air Force. All of them live in a circle. And the police headquarters and the prisons that were just burned down, you just opposite them.
Okay.
CCTV showed all those who do the attacking. Do you know that till today, none of these groups I mentioned ever produced a CCTV?
And I mean, a lot of people watch will be wondering, why is nobody being brought to book? Where are the perpetrators? But in the absence of state police, we've seen vigilantes across the country, states having to form their own vigilantes, and as well as regional security. Same as the Southeast with Ebube Agu. They don't seem to be making much headway. What have the governors got wrong when it comes to security of their states and, of course, the region, Southeast in particular now?
Well, I don't want to call it intimidation from Abuja. I also don't want to call it timidity of the governors. No. Let me say it's a case of 3 political parties having governors in the Southeast. 3 political, PDP has 2. That's Enugu and Abia. Enugu has always had a Babago. They have a name for their own, and they have bosses for them. Abia State, yes, its own is not as elaborate as that of Enugu. Imo State also passed a law a long time ago outlawing open grazing, and they also passed a law establishing a Babago. But then the governor said he has sent some people to train the military barracks in Anambra State, so that when they come, they form the nucleus. Now, the man in Anambra also has his own. His own method is different. because there are three parties. They have different methods. Abga said, okay, if you kill a cow, you pay. If you kill a human being, you pay. And they're enforcing it. So when you're talking of embargo to them, they may say we have something different. The man in Ebo, he has just joined APC. And he's also the chairman, so he's been drawn on one side. Unfortunately, his state is the worst hit by the killer herdsmen. Up till this Sunday, we're still killing. Now, the governors are also, well, I think they're handicapped. But remember this, there are killings all over the country, in all the zones. And in terms of number, in terms of statistics, Kaduna State has had more people killed or kidnapped than the whole of Southeast and South put together. Yeah, the IG of police, when he came, he said, I'm concentrating on Southeast and South. In other words, they know what they're doing. So those special squads sent to Imo State because of this crisis, are they putting anything together? Their job is to go and block the road. I saw them. I was there Saturday before last. For me to pass, all the roads were blocked in the city. For me to go to the airport, I had to call one man. When I noticed his less unfriendly appearance, I said, I just joked. He said he was an Ishan man. I said, Ishan Wayo? He laughed. He said, Ishan. I said, okay, Oba talk me. He said, he relaxed. He said, Oga pass. That's how I was able to go to the airport. The next day, Sunday, Golak was killed. The insecurity there is there, but it's artificial.
Okay. You seem to be blaming, you seem to be blaming everyone else, particularly the federal government, except for those in the region.
Because we are not destroyers. The average Igbo man is a builder. That Owerri airport was built, started by this Ambaku, with people contributing 1 naira. Everything you have in Imo State was built by the people, not by the government.
Okay, let me just bring this in because
seeing what is happening in the South is honestly, the military should know that if they are going for those who are terrorizing the environment, good and fine, but they should try to, separate their fights from the camp of the terrorists and the innocent people. Because in the Southeast, many innocent people have been caught up in all this military trying to revenge and whatever. A whole lot has happened in the Southeast, and we don't have any mouthpiece. We don't have anybody speaking up for us. And that is why innocent people have been. We have seen people who came out to support the Fulani headsmen, that they should be allowed, that they are to be citizens of Nigeria. We know they came from different countries, and they came in with all this, and they came in armed. But the Senate and the House of Rep members are canvassing for them to be, allowed to even invade people's farms and feed their cows. They shouldn't be restricted and all that. But when you go to the Southeast, nobody's bringing their case to the table. I mean, look at Imo State. Imo State is one of the states where Nigerian youths, their lives have been taken away massively because of the actions of the military. If there is any little thing that happened, the military will go hard on innocent citizens. There was a time we were being told that there were a whole lot of unclaimed corpses, dead bodies in the mortuary. There were so many. People could no longer identify their loved ones anymore. Some people didn't even know their loved ones are all gone. And there were corpses at the mortuary there in the Federal Medical Center in Owerri. People were being asked to come help claim their corpses under the leadership of Hope Uzodinma. But look at what is happening in the North. Honestly, nobody is in support of terrorism. But I think we should handle these things uniformly. Don't go to the Southeast and torment innocent people. And then you allow terrorists in the North to have their way to publicly come out and hold meetings and recruit members and tell them you want to have your own Islamic state, sent to eternity. Let me know what you think about this video in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. Thank you.